All right, it is time for part two of this week's weekly test show. Well, I came back here just in the neck of time because the floor is going to be on here in just a matter of minutes. So let me get Tom and Ben situated here before I set myself free. And then I realized that this card has not been updated since this morning. All right, so let me get Tom and Ben back up and running here. I gotta get Talking Ginger back up as well. And they're talking already. Before I could even play a single clip. I'll keep Discord open in case Brendan wants to join us tonight. And then I just gotta put the whole display up. And this is the second copy of the I-80 video that I was talking about and we did in part one. But I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to that point later on. All right, let's go. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay. Alright, that's enough of that. I don't want that running for too much longer. Well, that was great. I mean, that's even better. I got to see the floor live this week. Live, as I mean, airing in real time. So that is out of the way. That is done. And as the show was wrapping up, I was going through the recordings list just to see what was going to be on tomorrow. And my mother asked me why I had canceled one of the Flipside recordings. I told her that I've seen the episode already. So good thing I explained to her the reason. So yeah, pretty much this leaves me with a sort of full boat of shows for tomorrow. Let's see. America Says from tonight. Scrambled Up. I was going to take care of it at lunchtime this afternoon. However, that did not end up happening today. And Flipside, the episode was supposed to air on the U tonight. However, it did not because they instead are airing the home opener of Chicago Sky women's basketball. So apparently they do multiple things. They do high school basketball, they do Chicago Sky basketball, they do White Sox baseball. They do a whole lot. And that certainly is a lot of work for a TV network like the U. Alright, so I had reviewed the second attempt, and it looks like the second attempt came out much better. That's around there. Yeah, I had to resync this as much as possible. The eastbound bridge. Hey, everything else was almost as perfect as the first time. And then it transitions to westbound. Yeah, first time we got to cover I-80 westbound. And I really like the part going through Joliet. And then I sped up all the traffic. And then I sped through all the traffic. Yeah, and then start at like 14x speed so I could go through all the traffic, and then going back up to 3x speed at the bridge. And of course, I felt as nervous as ever going over both respective structures. But I just know that they're going to both be replaced. I could have used a different one. I was maybe thinking about resyncing that again. Maybe giving it another go. Ah, yes. Feeling the flow. That sounds like fun. But yeah, this has been quite a show. So, but yeah, everything else about this looks good. So, I actually might want to make one last edit before I declare this officially finished. So, yeah, I want to make one more edit to this before we are done. And then speed this up to like 14.5 or something like that. And let's speed it up a little. Let's actually reduce the speed a little bit. How about to 14.8? That's a little better. And then this is where it'll go back down to 3x speed. Oh, wait a second. This is actually where it's supposed to start. This is actually supposed to be where the speed up sequence is. Yeah, right there. That's where the speed up effect should begin, so. Okay, what was the speed I had before? It was like what, 14.8 or something? Yeah, I think it was 14.8 before I reduced it down. Yeah, that's so I can speed through the traffic. And maybe a little more than that. Maybe like 14.9. Okay, it was 15 then. Yeah, there we go. Because then, oh wait, 15.05. There we go. Because then we got it right up to the start of the truss span, so. Oh yeah, that's a lot of speed up effects it's got to process. I want to... Okay, slow it down to 2.9. 4, 3, 2... Yeah, I think that's good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay, so this is the third and final edit. Yeah, it's a little better. All right, so this will be the third edit that I've made to the Street View episode. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a matter of minutes. But before we go any further, why don't we go ahead and take care of the word game before we do anything else? And I'll talk about part 1. So, E, H, E, O, S, Y, E, and B are the letters in this week's word game from WNBS as we got in part 1. Now, let's see the letter. Let's see what we can try to spell. How about Henbosey? Henbosey? Bone. Let's try bone. Heyos. Boneheos. Boneheos. Whatever the heck that means. What else can we try? Heen. 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 SYB. No. How about HEB? NYSOB. Benisob? What the heck does that mean? I have no clue. What else have we got? How about SYEBOSE? Cybos? Okay. Yen BOHE? Okay, I don't know what that is. How about SHENBOSEY? Shinbozy. That's the best I can come up with. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the WNBS word game for this week. Now, of course, I know we've been waiting to get to the eBay scavenger hunt, and we are definitely going to get to it. I mean, we were supposed to get to it earlier. However, whatever we had going on today pretty much went way past that time. So, at this point, then, I'll go ahead and do a little bit of a recap for those of you who may have missed part 1. Wait a minute, did I hit the space bar over the cancel button? I think I did. Oh. Let me try that again. Alright, there we go. Got it. And I think I noticed I forgot to put something in there. Too bad I can't do the start button on the remote desktop. I have to do it on the... I have to actually press the button physically on the device. Alright, I want to pull Fort Worth from the from the Eastern time zone, because I noticed that, of course, they didn't test today. It was because of the severe weather threat, so I'm not surprised by that. I probably need to replace that other Broadcastify URL for that one Raleigh station now that I think about it, because I don't think that Broadcastify link even works anymore. That's better. And I'll leave this open so I can replace the monitors at the end of this when this is, when we are done tonight. So, let's do a little bit of a highlight, a little bit of a recap for those of you who may have missed part 1 of our show today. So, if you may remember, at the end of our Roblox show last night, it was actually in the middle of our Roblox show. Yeah, it was actually in the middle of our Roblox show. I was actually informed of an offer to pay my nana a visit after she was transferred over to a different facility. It's more like a retirement assisted living kind of place. I won't go into detail exactly what it is, but basically it just gives you an idea. Basically, it just gives you an idea as to exactly what we're referring to here. Yeah, basically, it gives you all an idea as to what we're referring to here. Yeah, what we are referring to when it comes to what I had mentioned. So, of course, me being me, I understand that this was going to heavily affect our show, and well, it did. It did very heavily affect the very first part of today's show. In fact, a majority of it. Actually, I wouldn't really say the majority of it, rather the entirety of it. Well, as such, the main section, the Eastern Seaboard and well, basically from the East Coast to the West Coast, essentially. So pretty much, what we've really based this show on in the first place. So, although sometime before we ended our show, or was it sometime after? Uh, Either of those two, I was given the chance to, give myself my own time to determine when we would, head out. So we were essentially only on for like the first hour and 45 minutes before we started simulcasting the Weather Scan network so I could, pay my Nana a visit. So, of course, we ran the Weather Scan simulcast, and we also threw the logger in on the side as an added bonus. So I thought this would be perfect to let this serve as an opportunity to sort of prepare for the upcoming summer season. Because, as I'm sure you all know, we had to hinder our weekly test show a lot last year. And it has to do mainly with my part time job. Because, yeah, it has been to the point where I have been getting called into work on Wednesdays, where previously that day was not viable. But now that I've moved on from the National EAS stuff, doing this whole weekly test thing and whatnot as an archive, or rather as an archive compilation, pretty much now I've been starting to slowly but surely get my life back. And see, I'm checking this the first part is good. This part. Yeah, it did a pretty good job. I have to say, it did a very good job this third time around. So, yeah, and on the way to and from, I of course knew that the route that, considering, where I was going to end up, I found out that the route that we were going to be taking was Interstate 80. So I thought, and considering the fact that the last time I had done a real drive episode of I-80 was December 2024, a lot of updates have been made to it since then. And of course, this has to do with the Will County reconstruction project, or whatever this is called. You know, where they're redesigning the I-80 I-55 interchange. They actually also just uh, demolished the Center Street Meadow Avenue interchange at I-80, but then there's also that bridge, those two Des Plaines River bridges, the twin brown truss spans that have been considered structurally deficient for years. Yeah, they're gonna replace those in the next couple years. Well, later on, they're probably gonna replace that as like the final part of the project. But what they're doing right now is they're mainly replacing overpasses, and Bridge Street, more notably, was one of those overpasses that were being replaced. Larkin Avenue interchange was reconfigured. I don't know if it's temporary or it's going to be permanent. I think it's going to be a new permanent design. But yeah, they're fixing a lot of Interstate 80 with this project. So yeah, so when we came, I also did say that yeah, I would be very unlikely I would get to see the Rock Island, but I didn't know exactly which room it was going to be. So yeah, of course, as expected, no chance of seeing the Rock Island. But that's alright. I wasn't planning on a row fanning adventure anyway. So we went there, and we went there and helped her with some things, and also something else that will likely become a part of our scavenger hunt here. So let's see. So we got there, and then the place we went to actually also has a their own little counter, restaurant, whatever. So it's pretty much yeah, they served up lunch. So there are menu items. Yeah, there are items on this list. And in fact, I took a pic. In fact, my mom instructed me to take a picture of it. So their menu, let's see, they served hot dogs, burgers, chicken tenders, salad, grilled cheese sandwich, along with a choice of either fries, tater tots or onion rings, and even a deli sandwich. So ended up going there. We ended up having their deli selections, or their lunch selections for my lunch break today. In fact, it didn't come until after I had finished towards the end of 25 Words or Less, because I was watching that well before that. So I ended up going with the burger, and I got the fries as a side. My mother actually didn't care for the fries. The burger, I think she said it was I think she said it was okay for what it is. And with the fries, yeah, I mean she didn't care for the coating on it, so yeah, I mean we're all entitled to our own opinions, but when I tried out the burger, it did taste decent. The fries, well, I do have to agree, yeah, related to the coating, but I mean, it's pretty understandable why they, why. And then now that I see that a deli sandwich was also being offered, I was thinking maybe if I end up getting something there again, somewhere within the next few weeks or something, I might actually end up trying the deli sandwich with some fruit as a side. But I think there were also other chips being offered as well. For the drink, I actually ended up. They actually offered Minute Maid lemonade, the zero sugar flavor, which I have not tried before. And yeah, I don't think it was the best. Well, in terms of ingredients, I mean, the lemonade tasted almost the same as, all the other kinds of lemonade I've actually had. The, well, pretty much every other kind, like the Simply lemonade or the Tropicana lemonade. I'm talking about the regular, I'm talking about the regular lemonade kind. I'm not talking about the pink lemonade. I'm not talking about the Tropicana pink or the High C poppin' pink. I'm not talking about those flavors. So, I think we had like about half an hour of lunch, and then when we got back, my nana was up for, she's still looking to get a laptop, and at this point now, based on what I've been told, related to what's been going on since this whole endeavor started, pretty much now it's gonna start becoming more and more likely. So, along with us were two of my laptops, one of which was my old one, the 17-inch Inspiron 5700 laptop, and then my 7506 2-in-1 touchscreen PC. Yeah, the other one, that one didn't even have a. Well, the other one, the older one, I had swapped out the hard drive and wiped it clean, so it doesn't have an OS on it. Well, its 2 terabyte drive is inside of my micro, now being used as extra internal storage. And then the other PC, yeah, it works. So I gave her a look at the screen sizes. So pretty much we've started to narrow down the possibilities of what kind of PC we could get. But also at the same time, we are sort of starting to get our plans together for Saturday. So, based on the plans that I've already been told about, I have already made my decision in regards to this week's Street View episode. For the third week in a row, I'm going to be doing it on Friday morning again. So, just like I did like 2 Fridays ago, sort of like that. I'll do the Street View video on Friday morning, get it over with, and I don't have to worry about it. Now, for the county requests, I'll do it at 11 a.m. just like last week. I'll do it at 11 a.m. Get it over with, and then I can forget about it. As for the weekend funny game show, though, we will not be doing the main part of it. So we won't come on at 11. We'll come on more like 7 p.m. So basically, this will be the same story as last week. So we're only going to do Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Random Character Extravaganza finale. So basically, just those two and nothing more. But tomorrow, yeah, I'm going to be quite busy. I got the one of the last of the exams to get last of the quarterly exams to get done. And yes, some good news. It's been confirmed officially. We won't be interrupted anymore on Wednesday. For now. That'll be until my part-time job comes around, where we actually will not be doing, the whole part 1, part 2 thing. So it's going to be just a matter of, we won't even start at 7 a.m. I mean, what's the point? I'll just put all the stations in on the main, and then walk out the door. Simple as that. And then, of course, do the Downers Grove Rush Hour and, everything else that, comes with the territory. So now that I've checked the I-80 episode a second time, and now that it looks good, that is actually going to be what I am going to get up after we end our show tonight. But right now, though, let me pull the Lombard cam back up. There's everything else I've been watching earlier. Those Yu-Gi-Oh! Those fictional parody things and whatnot. All right, now I was gonna take a look at it one more time, just to make sure. So, yeah, I really like how it turned out. Especially just looking at the final product. I like how it went from the seamless transition to the cantilever truss. I really like that transition. So, yeah, this thing turned out pretty good. But maybe I should have checked that other part where it maybe I should have checked that other part where it did that. I don't know if it does that at any other point in the episode. I think it's just that one part and that one part only. So, yeah, everything else seems to be good. So I don't know how it did that around this point here, but I'd like to check. I guess that's how the editing came out, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah, of course, I checked everything beforehand, and it is, well, pretty much good. So, yeah, so that's why we didn't, that's why, we couldn't do a lot of the show at the beginning earlier tonight. So, of course, I let all the station, all the forecast offices, do do their uh, their weeklies while I was away. And out of all of them, Fort Worth, of course, postponed because of the severe weather threat that was going on. Little Rock did not test at all. And looking at Little Rock, yeah, their last test was on April 22nd, so that was last week. So they did not test at all. I did not see San Angelo test. Oh, I didn't put the slash there. It was looking to be case specific. Yeah, San Angelo did not come up last week. Probably because I didn't have them in the monitors. Okay, so San Angelo did test. Maybe it was because whatever monitor I had in there. Oh, there's that WXK 33. I was wondering if that one was ever going to come back, but I guess it did. So San Angelo did test then, so I can take that off. Nashville. I didn't see if they tested, so let's take a look. Okay, the last one was at April 28th. We can look at the. Yep, Clay, Jackson, Smith. So Nashville did test. I didn't see anything for Tulsa, so yeah, I might want to take a look and see. But I did see Elkhart, Indiana come up somewhere, so I might want to take a good look. So Elkhart, IN. Yeah, the Northern Indiana test from. Yeah, this is the Northern Indiana Weekly from April 22nd. Now, I didn't see Jackson, Kentucky test, so I'd like to take a look at their social media page just to see if they had ever announced a postponement. Either that or the station that was on there did not relay it. The test was delayed. Okay. So they did postpone. All right, that's good to know. I did not see Morristown test either, although I did see something like North Carolina come up on one side. Well, we can look at the. Go back to John's local and look. We can just scroll up a little bit. So yeah, DC. And then Mount Holly. Well, that is totally different for WFDD. It was just all of North Carolina, and now it's like a whole bunch of counties. They could have tested yesterday, but oh well. So pretty much then we have the lay of the land set. But then also Maryland Emergency Management Agency still sent out their monthly once again, despite the National Weather Service doing the test early on in the month for the Severe Weather Awareness Week drill. I guess somebody there did not get the memo. And I'm not even going to bother checking Jackson to see if there was a postponement message, but I'm going to assume there was one. Now, I don't know if Northern Indiana ever made a statement as to whether they would postpone discontinuation of the hazardous weather outlook product. So some offices are going to discontinue the hazardous weather outlook product. I heard St. Louis is doing the same. I heard St. Louis is going to do the same. Yeah, Angola's still off the air, so they haven't gotten around to fixing that. Nothing for a postponement. Okay, so this could probably be one of the few things. The first being they probably tested, but the station I had on there did not receive it. I probably knew I should have had Laporte in there too, but oh well. Or they actually didn't test at all and they didn't even bother announcing it. So, regardless of that, as of right now, the order of postponements. So let's see. I've got Fort Worth, Shreveport, Little Rock, Austin, Blacksburg, Tulsa, Morristown, Jackson, Kentucky, Charleston, West Virginia, because I didn't see them test either, Syracuse, Indiana, or Northern Indiana in this case, and at Jackson, Mississippi, because I didn't see them test today either. Now let me see who else may have ended up testing. Issued a required weekly test for. That was the evening test. So I want to see if there was anything else. So I guess the WSK 33 stream must have came back. So I'm going to keep going down the list here just to make sure that I got everything. That was Omaha. Benton, Carroll, Madison, Washington. That looks like Tulsa to me, so yeah, Tulsa did test today, but whatever station I had in there did not receive it. Okay, so that is something I will need to change out for, that is something I'm going to change out for next week. So let me go down to Tulsa. Now, what's the original URL for Fayetteville? What's the original URL I had in there for Fayetteville? Because I'm looking to switch that out now. So let's see. Fayetteville is what number? 30668. And I'm going to switch that out with a new one. And I think I can still access it on the clipboard. Oh. Good enough. I can just change it out with WXJ52. And then let me pull the document back up. Because here's what I'd like to do for next week. Just in case the original Tulsa stream does not receive the test, I'm going to be putting WXJ52 in as a companion. Oh, and one more thing as well, and actually a few more things. While Grand Rapids did test, the logger, the station I had in there did not relay it, or did not receive it, rather. So just in case it does not, just in case WWF34 does not receive the test, and in fact I may as well go ahead and remove Gaylord, Michigan from the list because it's not, because it pretty much doesn't even work anymore, which is such a shame. May as well remove that. And also I'm going to be putting in South Bend as a companion to LaPorte. Again, it's best, so, you know, it's best to have like 2 different streams in case one does not, just in case one does not receive a product, like the weekly test, for example. All right, so at this point, I think we've addressed everything, but let me go through again. That's Corpus, that's Detroit, that is Marquette, Tallahassee, that's GSP, that's Raleigh, Grand Rapids, I've already addressed Grand Rapids. Miami, in fact, that reminds me, I should probably also address Miami too. Oh, we didn't even get to do max weather. We didn't even get to do weather. We didn't even get to do max weather. Yeah. Yeah, my routine really got thrown off today. It absolutely did. All right, so I'll be putting this in. I'll be putting WVOI in alongside Miami. Again, it's best to have like multiple streams just in case one does not receive the test. Let's see, KHB 34, and I'm going to put this in right there on the side. So, all right, and then Buffalo, Cleveland, Binghamton, Raleigh. Yeah, we already did Raleigh. Angles, Defiance. That looks like Wilmington, but actually I have that on my. Actually, I do have that on my. That one, my logger actually took it and it didn't ignore it, at least. So why don't we scroll up and, you know, actually see what that is.
because I actually want to be sure if that's Northern Indiana or Wilmington, Ohio, before I make any assumptions. But it's best that I make sure I have this logger prepared, especially for next week. Because I want to be sure that this thing gets everything. Okay, here we go. Oh, I gotta.
Clydersville, Ohio, public warning system.
Okay, that's NWS Wilmington. All right, good. Good, that's NWS Wilmington. Okay, so we've got that addressed. So now the logger should be in tip-top shape for next week. Now, let's kick off our eBay scavenger hunt. What should we go after? How about some of the Inspiron laptops? Why don't we look at some Inspiron laptops? This one's a Latitude, but you know what? It'll work. It can go up to 32 gigabytes on here. It can go up to 1 terabyte. And of course, Pro, which was the original OS it came with. I could do that if I so desire. Oh, look. Here's the laptop I have right now. The 5755. Look at this. A8-7410 APU. 8 gigabytes of RAM minus 12 gigabytes. 1 terabyte of a mechanical hard drive. Mine had 2 terabytes. 10 home. That's what it came with. All right. Let me reposition the mic here. And let's continue on. Oh, let me get back to this. What color was this one? What's the color? Oh, this one's in, what is it, white? This was in white. The one I have is in blue. Here's a 5482 that's compatible with the Windows 11. It's an 8th Gen i3. I feel like I've seen this laptop before. It's just that I haven't seen it in a long time. There's a 7386. This one's quite small, but neat in its own way. So, it's 3793, i7 13th generation Inspiron 14 2-in-1. So this is a 14-inch PC, 1 terabyte of storage, 16 gigs of RAM, DDR5 I assume, at 1.7 gigahertz. Yeah, I don't think it'd be best at 1.7 gigahertz, honestly. And then we have this 3521 15.6 inch laptop that came from the Windows 8 era. This one's on 10, and its license is inactive. But what edition of 10 is this? Is this 10 Pro? Is this 10 Home? Windows 8, so that likely came with the original Windows 8 or 8.1. There was a... yeah, it has a bad battery. It says the battery needs to be replaced, but yeah. That's the message about it cannot find the battery. Probably it's not a Dell official one. But then there's what all the components of the system look like. Oh, 3567 with Windows 11 on a 7th gen Intel processor. Oh look, here's another laptop, exactly what I have right now. But it looks like this one comes with a... It looks like this one also comes with the... Looks like it also comes with the Dell Active Pen. So, yeah, mine doesn't have it. Mine doesn't have this Active Pen. I'm guessing this is like an optional component that I suppose you can request separately. Mine is an i5, so maybe this one... Yeah, this one is the... This one has the Active Pen. Mine does not. I didn't even request the Active Pen when I got that. Brand new. Here's an Inspiron 7000 with the Ryzen 5. It's a 14-inch. Okay, back to the laptops. What do we got? This 15-inch. This looks like a newer PC because I can see the Windows 11 logo. P25T. I have never heard of this model. It's an 11.6-inch Pentium. Oh my gosh. It's like a low... It's one of those low-end budget laptops or something. Yeah, it's one of those on the lower end. Yeah, it's one of those laptops on the lower end of the spectrum. Alright, since we got about 5 minutes here before we start Deal or No Deal, let me go ahead and turn on the virtual machine. I'll keep Discord on the side in case Brandon's ready, if he is. Oh, here's an Inspiron 5548 with only a 5th gen i5 processor, but it has Windows 11 on it, despite the requirements. So this one is running what? 24H2. Installed on April 1st, 2024. I suppose they must have gotten 24H2 from the Copilot Plus line before it was made available to general availability. Well, availability as into every other PC that's compatible with 11. And this is a 15-inch 3511 Inspiron laptop, early 2021. And I can see that this is the Windows Pro logo, so that it looks like this one. So it looks like even Inspiron machines, well, on a lot of Dell PCs, they even give you the option if you want it to come with Windows Home or Windows Pro. By default, it comes with Windows Home. If you want it to come with Windows Pro, you would have to pay extra if you want Windows Pro pre-installed. So here's another 5th generation Core i3. This one looks like it has a damaged screen, but it has good battery health, it looks like. 1 terabyte of storage, 6 gigs of RAM. I couldn't see the specs all the way. Yeah, there it is. Installed RAM, 6 gigabytes, 64-bit, of course, 64-bit. And then we have a 3152. It's one of those 2-in-1 machines. Intel Inside Pentium. When I see the sticker like that, I know damn well it's not compatible with 11. Well, not compatible with 11 by default. Inspiron 1545. I think I remember seeing this one. And would you look at that? It still has its original factory installation on it. Inspiron. Receive a free mobile broadband USB device when you sign up for a new 2-year participating career service plan through Dell. It's that simple. I knew they were going to be putting a plethora of advertisements and things like that on the packaging. Alright, let's see. P113G. I've never seen this one before, but it sure does look identical, and there's some stickers on there. They didn't even bother removing the stickers. I see a broken HDMI port. What else do I see? Or is it just showing the ports and stuff with the out-of-box experience on screen? Yeah, here it is. This is Specky, showing the specs of the machine. I know on one version it showed like what, the product key? Or was it just in the operating system category? I couldn't remember, but I'll have to look again. Yeah, but I'll have to take a look again and see. Alright, and then we have this 15.65 thousand. That's the only picture there is. Alright, so now let's venture into a little bit of the newer stuff. And we're gonna go ahead and do Best Buy for this. And I'll go ahead and put the virtual machine up on screen. So I'll just keep the edge window front and center. Because I was actually searching through Best Buy earlier after let's see, laptops, and then it's under the computers and tablets category. Might need to give it a few moments. And then after everything I've talked her through, she's looking more for Dell. So Yeah, we've trusted Dell, so we're going after Dell. And of course, we can filter it by what her requirements are. Well, there's even a 26-inch laptop. Oh, they're monitors. Okay, so they're monitors. I guess it doesn't matter what the processor is. It just... Let's see, they only have 16.3 inches. Okay. So... Is Dell Premium? Yeah, that's a little too extreme for her. I mean, I'm pretty sure she just wants one with with just a decent amount of RAM. Because as far as she said, she just wants one that does, the basics. So 8 gigabytes of RAM, or maybe 12 gigs, I think will be enough. Yeah, I think with 12 gigabytes, maybe with 8 gigabytes of RAM, I think 12 gigs will be good enough for her. And I think she also said, 17-inch, and let's see if we can find a 17-inch one. Can we filter it by RAM size? Yeah, we can. So there's a 16 gigabyte option. And what are the other choices? Total storage? No, I don't need storage. Touchscreen, numeric keypad. That's also what she wants. And we can do the Inspiron. I don't think it matters what the processor is that she wants. So let's see. This Dell Inspiron with the AMD Ryzen. Oh, this one's been refurbished. So the only one that's being offered here is refurbished. And I don't think you can... I'm pretty sure you can see that is a Windows 10 logo. So yeah, that does tell me that this is a refurbished model. So yeah, it's a refurbished PC. It's not really brand new. So yeah, Best Buy does have some good options for maybe some kind of laptops. Let's see what Walmart has. See what Walmart's got. Let's see, departments. We want the electronics section. Laptops, PCs, and tablets. This is what we want. And then I want to filter it by... We just want laptops. I don't want gaming laptops. I mean, that's a little too crazy. Brand. Dell. Here we go. So there's just some restored ones. I don't want any of the... I do not want... Let's filter it by new. That one is 1 terabyte of storage. This one's the same thing. This one's a 15-inch. And I can actually explore the product. Oh, it just plays that clip showing exactly what it's gonna look like. But this one looks like it has the Windows 10 logo, so it looks like this one's been refurbished. But It looks like Dell has their own store on here, so there's some Inspiron laptop models. So a lot of them are refurbished, but you know what? I mean, hey, we can save money with a refurbished model. It's not, it's not the latest, it's not the greatest, but the old saying, new isn't always better. Just because there's something new out there doesn't mean it's exactly, better. Like for example, when I heard about, when I followed along, when 25H2 came out and there were still some issues with it upon launch. I mean, it was because it was an enablement package from 24H2, which was a big feature upgrade. Well, it was actually a huge update. They couldn't really do that in an enablement package because that included like a whole code rewrite, and also to work with the ARM architecture. So essentially that's what this Copilot Plus thing is. But if I do have interest in any way for Dell Precision, I would end up getting a Precision in my hands. But I mean, I guess until that day comes, I mean, we can just take a look at some of these other Precision models, like this one that there's a box for it in our basement, and I'm not kidding. There is literally a box for this exact Precision model in our basement. 256 gig SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, no operating system. It's been totally wiped. It has been totally wiped clean. I mean, hey, some of these refurbished Precisions like this one, yeah, this would be pretty good. This actually does look pretty good for what it is. I mean, it's a 10th Gen i5, and yeah, it looks like they didn't even bother turning this on. But I mean, I won't really have like Wi-Fi connectivity. It doesn't show anything about Wi-Fi. So it shows, yeah, here. So basically, it just gives all the information, including benchmarks. So 60 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, it says here, but it said like 256. Oh, that is correct. 512, yeah. Integrated graphics. I don't need the fancy graphics card, and yeah, I don't need the fancy mini PCIe graphics card. I'm okay without it. Of course, Windows 11 Pro, 180 watt AC adapter, and then of course there's all the other stuff. There's 2 display ports, so that's something I gotta keep in mind. 5 USB 3 ports, a USB-C port, audio, Ethernet, BIOS. So this specific unit does not have Wi-Fi on it. Well, it doesn't have a Wi-Fi card pre-installed from the factory. As I've talked about with the Optiplexes, that you would have to request separately, before ordering. You would have to request internet or Wi-Fi. You would have to request a Wi-Fi card separately as an add-on. So it's like an optional add-on for these Office PCs. But pretty much now with the Micro, there isn't really a choice, because pretty much now Wi-Fi adapters are being included. And the best part about them is that now you don't even have to put that, you don't even have to have that little antenna coming out of the back of the machine, which I think is actually pretty nice. But yeah, I mean that's actually pretty nice. You don't have to put a silly Wi-Fi antenna outside of the back of the computer. So here's another 3260 compact, but this one does not have Wi-Fi on it at all. And it shows it right down here. Wireless card, what is not included. It does include the laptop and its power cable. Then these are the specs. Well, the basic specs, but then it also mentions about a fresh install of Windows Pro. I assume it's just a standard retail copy of the OS and not the one from the factory, which of course I can obtain at any time. So I can just go into Dell OS Recovery, look up the service tag of the model of the machine, and just download the recovery media for it and, reinstall it. Like so. Like I had to do when I swapped out the hard drive inside of the micro before I officially put it into service. Here's Precision's small form factor lineup. Yeah, you could put 2 SSDs in this thing. You could put 4 slots of RAM. So starts at 2.70 gigahertz. You could go up to 4.6 on this CPU. Pretty nice, isn't it? Ownership tag, none. Asset tag, none. I suppose you could manually enter those fields. Manufacture date, you could enter those fields manually if you so desire. And I suppose this is the rest of the initial menu. That's for PCIe. Now, where does it show about hard drive? I guess it doesn't show it on this screen, doesn't it? All it shows is the basics, and it doesn't show anything more. But I could filter it to something else here. This one has a part of the case is missing. And there's a separate disk drive right here. Weird place for it to go, but hey, it is what it is. So I can filter to say that with Wi-Fi. So, and it'll just sort the listings that have Wi-Fi included, like this one. Features built-in Wi-Fi adapter. So yeah, there's the Core i5, 16 gigs of DDR4, use 256 gig, 11 Pro, the integrated graphics, and it says it has the Wi-Fi 6 AX201 on it already. So basically it just filters the Precision or every other PC to ones that have Wi-Fi built in. Like this one, we can scroll down here. It doesn't show it, but oh yeah, here it is, optical drive Wi-Fi. So it's likely because those PCs have Wi-Fi integrated into them. And this Precision 3460, we can see inside of network adapters on this menu, we can see it states that this is Intel. It has Intel dual band wireless preloaded. So, I mean, hey, this is good. 512 gigs of storage, 2 terabyte hard drive, Wi-Fi, 11 Pro. Yeah, now we're talking. And then, of course, we can scroll down to see all the specs here. No, these are just the results, and the specifications in this, whatever it can be put in this chart, is right down here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's each and every piece of device that has that mentions Wi-Fi being included. I guess it just starts with that at the top, and then it shows. Yeah, then it just shows USB. So some of these have the Wi-Fi card already installed in its slot on the motherboard, or these come with a USB adapter, one of those little USB things that you just plug into the back of the computer and you get Wi-Fi connectivity right then and there. So yeah, it's sort of like that. then what else have we got? Here's one of those micros, which of course have Wi-Fi integrated into them. Oh, this is the California warning, which I've seen a lot. I really like that guy, that little skit that Plain Rock did in one of those board smashing grocery store phones episodes. I think it was episode 6. If I remember correctly, it was episode 6, which featured that one of those AT&T prepaid phones. It's been a long time since I've seen the board smashing grocery store phones, and it's been years. I don't even know if he's ever going to make another one of those episodes. He's probably not going to. I don't think he's going to. He's pretty much moved on from that series, but this looks like there's a lot of these 3260 small form factors. This says built-in Bluetooth, built-in Wi-Fi. It sure doesn't look like it on the listings, judging by the antenna lines, but I guess the only way we can find out is if we actually connect, the only thing we would know is if we plug it in, but oh, here's the Optiplex Small Form Factor Plus. I found out it's the Plus, where you can put in a additional solid state drive, but you'd also be losing the ability to do a 2.2.5-inch SATA drive. That's only for the micro line. But this is the small form factor line right here we're looking at. So all right, let's go on here to the next page. Here's another small form factor Precision. And you can see it looks about identical to my small form factor. There you can see this looks like a slot for an SSD. Yeah, this is where you'd put an SSD. I don't think there's room for another one. Yeah, M.2 PCIe SSD, none. So that there's only one slot where you can put an SSD. And I think you can only add one 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drive. And I don't think there's room where you can put another one in. Yeah, it's because it's a more compact space. This one doesn't have Wi-Fi, it doesn't have DVD, a DVD drive. It doesn't have that. Yeah, it doesn't have a disk drive. So yeah, who knows? Someday I might end up with a Precision in my hands, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's probably not gonna happen. It probably won't happen at all, considering how those are pretty expensive workstation devices and whatnot. But as I've said weeks prior, I could possibly end up with one in my hands this year. But again, who knows? So, I guess with that then, I guess I don't need this. It says warning expires in like 9 minutes. I'll just let it continue scrolling and then be done with it. So yeah, I'll just let it be done with it. And actually, I'll just run Element on another PC until we're officially done tonight. There was the last message, and then the thing sent today was like next year for April Fools. For the surrounding areas of Illinois, yeah, the weather scan. How about doing some for Jalen County? You know what? That actually might be pretty nice. That actually could be pretty cool. I could put that through the Hayes weather text to speech thing and put that on WPLD IP or on the secondary or both. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That would be pretty freaking neat, wouldn't it be? If I were to do such thing. But yeah, now that I've mentioned the secondary, I'm thinking it's probably the soundtrack that I've had on there that's causing the connection to be abruptly ceased. So I went ahead and disabled Auto DJ, assuming that that's the problem. And I'm going to leave it off, and I'm going to leave it off until I know for sure that it is the root cause of the problem. If it ends up happening again, then of course I will know that it wasn't that, it was likely something else. But yeah, this was a very eventful day. I mean, I did not get to do much at all, in terms of actually doing a show of any kind. But considering how long that but yeah, the last of the quarterly exams I have to get done tomorrow is going to be longer. So that this one's going to go on. This one's going to go on longer. But plus, I also have 3 shows to catch up on, as I talked about earlier. Flip Side, America Says, and Scrambled Up, which I was going to do this morning, but earlier this afternoon, but never did. But hey, can't go wrong with that. And yeah, the I-80 video, that came out pretty well. That turned out pretty freaking good. Yeah, that came out pretty freaking good. I mean, after some slight edits and whatnot, it of course wasn't going to be like the original video. Obviously, it wasn't going to be like the original, so of course I had to make some adjustments, for it. So, like I said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and now we're going to move on to our final game of the night here before we wrap things up. And that, of course, is Yahtzee. So yeah, I've gotten a good idea as to the last part of that course project for my server class. So tonight, after we're done, I'm gonna get that totally finished. As in, get all the screenshots gathered up and everything, so that way I can get all the screenshots gathered up so I can get it submitted and whatnot. Alright, so as we're going through Yahtzee here, let's go back on some of these things, because there's a lot of them waiting for me. And I see BHV is catching up on a lot of stuff. I see Waterford got Chicago's test this morning. We got Chicago's weekly. And BHV actually got a few other ones. he got woken up at like 3 in the morning, and then this flash flood warning on Dixon, and then these other warnings from April 17th. Yeah, Northeast Illinois is catching up. And he also had a timeline of the April 17th outbreak. So yeah, timeline of the severe weather outbreak in Iowa. And then there was this Amber Alert in Fort Worth, the Fort Worth area earlier tonight. Yeah, it was from earlier. Southwest Florida got both tests from Tampa. And you'll see his 12382 is having problems, so we actually mailed it off so it could be repaired. But all his other radios activated like normal. Wait, DC changed their script? Yeah, things like light strips and whatnot. Yeah, things like light strips and whatnot can affect the signal quality. Let's see. Radio Frenzy at Got State College, DC, and Cal Holly. Yeah, that sure sounds different, alright. And now says the listening area of this transmitter. So that's one of the few differences I'm noticing already from DC. Is that something new they're trying? I see Radio Frenzy.
Sighting, entries. Locations impacted include Bloomington, Littlefield, Spencer, Electedale, Worthington. Bulls, 422 miles west of Bedford, moving east at 50 miles per hour.
Wonder if you could tune to the weather band on these.
Bedford, Brownstown, Mitchell, Elizabethtown, Steubenville, Norman, Thomasville, Weevansville, Freetown,
I'll take a look here in a minute. So Landon got the morning test from Tampa. Yeah, you got the morning test from Tampa. And then Accurate got the Indianapolis Weekly. Southern PA's live stream view of State College. And then, let's see, Thunderbuddy got... He was actually home for both of these. This was Albany, and then this is New York. He had the day off today, so he took the opportunity to get it. Carolina Elevators got the ID of KC55 out of Fort Worth. And then over to the other one. We're going to go ahead and play the second and last game of this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play game 2. And then that will be it. Alright, this was from earlier. I see Mahoney County got a SFA 1150. So this was his angle of Cleveland's test. I can't believe his parents actually tolerate this setup. My parents surely don't. Or surely wouldn't. And I see Piedmont Region caught some of these warnings. Likely on Greenville. Oh, here's why. Charleston never tested. Yeah, it was because of of course it was because of the severe weather threats, so that's entirely understandable. Today it's 4/29. Dylan Fretwell got a few of the warnings from yesterday. Some more music. Riveri. Interesting. Yeah, we're not playing too much of it for a good reason. And these are all the outlooks from let's see, that's day 1, then that's day 2. And then Mahoney County got Cleveland from, of course, 3 stations. WWG 56, that doesn't sound like that. And that's Pittsburgh, not Cleveland. I wonder if Southern PA got DC. Let's see if he got DC. But yeah, we'll see if they do. We'll find out next week if they do it again. We'll find out next week if they do that script again. Yoshi Fan got Albany's test. And I see SBC Fort Worth finally got a compilation in. For the first time in forever. Yeah, he hasn't made a video in so long, and he finally got around to doing that, yeah. Then, let's see, Jimmy Hobby's got the Raleigh test. What is this? Transition? Oh, this is from Canada WX. And I also see Central Illinois caught some of a majority of the moderate risk from earlier this week. And I see Southern PA caught some of that as well. That was, yeah, from Monday. Zachary Coleman also got some stuff from there. And Lake County MT, pretty much it's just nothing but tests. Yeah, nothing but tests the whole time. Then where was that other one? It's his new weather radio thing. So yeah, something he's trying out. Now of course this is the thing here. Low 9. So I don't know where it's pulling down this data from. I'm curious to see how he set this up. WXBC website. There's also a link to there in the description. To revive Weather Radio Canada. So that would be nice to see if I can. For other provinces, click here. Max Weather Service and pretty much other revival projects. Let's see what other pages there are. Basically, it's just taking the information from. Yeah, pretty much this is just taking the information from Environment Canada. And then are frequently. And then, of course, there's the frequently asked questions. And then, of course, looks like they do tornado drills, but only through Alert Ready. And then all the supported event codes. And required monthly tests are only issued when there's a tornado drill on the list. And then it shows all the products that are broadcasted over this Weather Radio Quebec service. And it's about specific carrier messaging coding. And then I guess that's it. Then this is the home page, and there's nothing else. So that's pretty a pretty interesting idea of what these people are doing when it comes to the whole concept of, weather radio and how weather alert radios are important. And what is this? Oh yeah, that I just saw was a story on the Bioman's Furniture in downtown Naperville. It's closing. It's closing for good after 165 years in business. Oh my gosh. Quite some history with that place, in all honesty. But yeah, that's something else I wanted to, what else I wanted to see. And yeah, I don't think the Lemon is even gonna bother trying to call tonight. I mean, we're gonna be ending the show now anyway. So, of course, before we do, I want to thank Tom and Ben, of course, for both being, with us here on the show tonight. Although we didn't really get too much time with them today because of what happened. So, of course, we'll be back with them again next week. So, I'll say goodnight to the both of you. And of course, I want to thank. We only had Drew, Austin Vance briefly, and Dimitri. That was the only time we did a voice call during this whole show. Those were the only three we had, and although this voice call was only brief because of the unexpected change of events, of course, we still want to thank them anyway for being with us and, whatnot. So, yeah. So yeah, we said goodnight to Tom and Ben. Of course, said thanks to all the special guests who've joined us today. But of course, we will be back again tomorrow at our normal time. Our normal time of 5 p.m. So, as I said, Backyard Baseball goes back to its 5 p.m. time slot tomorrow. And I mean, I've got a lot of stuff to get done tomorrow too. Like what specifically? Oh yeah, those shows I gotta get caught up on. One of those final quarterly exams I gotta get taken care of as well. I'll take care of that first thing in the morning, or maybe after I catch up on those shows again, just like I did earlier. I'll probably start with one or just two, just take care of two, and then do the other after when I do my lunch break. So I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do for tomorrow, just like I did on Tuesday. And then, of course, I'll get back to work on the Travel Series remake, and I will work on Interstate 23. And that'll continue until about 5 when we start our backyard baseball game. That will run until 6:30, hopefully until 6:30. And then, of course, after Wheel of Fortune, we'll take care of the 1% Club. We'll get that done, get that out of the way. And then I'll join the CW for both Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit, although I won't be watching both of them live. We're just going to get them both out of the way. Well, get the 1% Club out of the way, then take care of everything else. As far as I know, Flip Side and The Perfect Line are both all new tomorrow night, so I will take care of both shows. And I'll have to look through GSN's listings to see when that one episode of The Perfect Line that you should have aired tonight did not. So, of course, I'm keeping track of all the numbers as to what episodes I had missed and what episodes I had missed and what else I have yet to see. But of course, I'll continue with the Travel Series remake project on Friday, and then Saturday, well, actually Friday. Before that, though, I'll get the Street View episode taken care of, and then Saturday I'll do the kind request in the morning, and then Sunday, again with Sunday, we won't be going live in the afternoon. And then I was also thinking earlier, depending on where the Travel Series project is further at, we may actually end up taking another Monday off so we could get production on the Travel Series totally finished. It depends on how next week will go, because Monday is going to be the course project for one of my other classes, and then Tuesday and then it'll probably be very likely then right then there I'll take care of one of the first of the final exams for the 3 of my courses. So yeah, and speaking of final things, as I've said,
previously. I'm going to take care of the final project, get that out of the way, and I'll also get that I-80 video uploaded as well. So those are going to be basically the two remaining things I'm going to get taken care of tonight after we are done. So, well, once we go off the air here. So, yeah, and then of course, Sunday, of course, we'll still go live for Ticket to Ride as we usually do every Sunday night. So that won't change. Of course, Monday will be the last time we'll have that day off from streaming, or live broadcasts or anything like that. Tuesday will be Roblox. Wednesday will be the first weekly test show for about a month or so uninterrupted. Thursday will be the next backyard baseball game. Friday will be the next Fun Night show, and then Saturday of the following week we'll see what the plans are. But what I do know is that for this coming Saturday, we will not be able to do, as I said, the Weekend Funny Games show in its entirety. We're going to do it as a shortened format again. So we'll be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! And the Random Character Extravaganza. We'll probably do just those two. But we'll see how things play out here in the coming days. So, with that being said, I've got some other stuff to get done, so I'm going to go ahead and get to that. Again, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we will see you again tomorrow at 5 p.m. for our backyard baseball game. But until then, I'm Mr. Planfald, and we wish all of you a very pleasant good night.